What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats and best attachment combinations for every gun in Call of Duty Vanguard. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving on to the AS44. And before we dive in, I'm just going to try something new here, and just remind you guys, if you guys are enjoying the gun guide series, please don't forget to leave a like rating down below, and subscribe for more if you haven't already. And diving right into the AS44's damage profile, we deal 27 damage up close and 20 at a distance, anywhere in the torso, the biceps, as well as your upper legs from the knee up. So it's actually got a very forgiving body multiplier, and also at really long ranges, you're dealing the same damage to the toe as you are to the chest. Now this means it's going to be a 4 to 5 shot kill to the body, and then with our head and neck damage, we deal 40 damage up close, 31 at a distance, and this means we need 2 headshots mixed in with body shots at any range in order for those headshots to actually mean something. As for our rate of fire, this is the fastest in the assault rifle category at 923 rounds per minute, which is very fast. And what this means for our time to kill potential is in the 4-shot kill range, it's going to be 195 milliseconds, which is the fastest killing assault rifle in the game. And then at a distance, it'll drop off to 260 milliseconds, which is still a very competitive time to kill. Now, it's also worth noting, if we can land 2 of those shots to the head and then 1 to the body, this will give us a 3-shot kill with a time to kill potential of 130 milliseconds, which is insanely fast. But moving on to the next thing, this is our bullet velocity, which is just standard for assault rifles at 885 meters per second. And now let's dive into our ranges, which is one of the downsides of this gun. This does have a pretty low range for an assault rifle at just about 34 meters. And then when we have a look at hardcore game modes, this gun just doesn't really excel there because it's going to be a 2-shot kill to the body even at point blank range. And essentially the only way to get a 1-shot kill with this gun, without attachments of course, is if you land a shot to the head or the neck. Then let's move on to our hipfire, which I did reevaluate, and I looked at the guns in a little bit more detail here. And it turns out those in-menu stats just aren't accurate when it comes to hipfire, it seems. Because the BAR and AS44 have the worst hipfire in the assault rifle category, even though in the menus it says it's the same as the NZ41 and better than the ITRA burst, which just isn't the case. After that, let's have a look at our idle sway, which really isn't that bad. There's very little movement while aiming down sight. I was a bit surprised to see this for this particular gun, actually. And now let's look at recoil, which is one of the things that will hold this gun back. You can see with this super high fire rate, it kicks pretty strong upward and to the right. It does bounce back and forth a bit, especially for those initial like 7 or 8 shots, which are your most important shots to be firing. However, the recoil does tend to settle down after the initial shots that are fired. So recoil is one of the biggest things we want to be focusing on when creating our class setups, just so we can keep this gun under control. But after that, I also wanted to look at our aim down sight spread. So this is the inherent inaccuracy where the bullet doesn't actually go exactly where you're aiming. And the AS44, even though this has improved quite a bit compared to when the game launched, it is still the worst in the entire game when it comes to aim down sight spread. So even after this improvement to our aim down sight spread, we still really want to be focusing on attachments that improve that accuracy stat. But now let's move on to our handling stats, and when it comes to our aim down sight time, this is right around average for assault rifles at 263 milliseconds, and it's a similar story with our sprint to fire time. It's 250 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time, and 384 for our tactical sprint out time. And then finally, having a look at our reload add time, this is 1.47 seconds, which is noticeably better than average for an assault rifle. As for mobility, our base movement speed is pretty standard for an assault rifle at 10.7 miles per hour. Same thing goes for our sprint speed. This is fairly standard, a little bit better than average actually. However, our aim walking movement speed is a bit on the slow side for an assault rifle at 6.2 miles per hour. So there we have it. That's going to wrap it up for the base stats of the AS44. Now let's move on to the barrel attachments, because these are quite important to look at. And we'll start it off with our barrel recoil. And you can see here, our first barrel will slightly improve the accuracy. The second barrel really destroys the accuracy. It makes it incredibly hard to control, especially since it kicks so strong to the right, and it's just unpredictable. As you can see, those two plots are completely different. Then we have the burst barrel, which we'll look at in more detail in a little bit. After that's the precision barrel, which gives us the best accuracy possible with a barrel attachment. And then finally, with the Empress barrel, this one also harms our recoil control quite a bit. And after that, let's see what the barrels do to our ranges and time to kill potentials, which, as you can see here, our ranges actually aren't affected much by barrels at all. But you can see the first barrel does slightly improve our ranges, and then you can see with the final 3 barrels, these all change our time to kill potential, so we're going to dive into much greater detail with those ones. Starting it off with barrel number 3, which is our burst barrel, so this does turn it into a 3-round burst. still has a very high fire rate within the burst at about 1,000 rounds per minute, and then our burst delay is about 105 milliseconds, which is a very short delay for a burst rifle. And since this doesn't change our damage profile at all, it's still going to be a 4-shot kill up close, which means we can't get a 1-burst kill without landing 2 headshots, which is unlikely. And this will increase our time to kill potential up to 285 milliseconds. Now, this isn't a completely uncompetitive time to kill. It's still very usable with this barrel, but it's better when combined with certain attachments, which we'll look at toward the end of the video. So don't write off the burst barrel completely just because it hurts your time to kill potential, because there is a combination that makes this pretty incredible, actually. But after that, we'll have a look at the 4th barrel attachment, which is the precision barrel, and with this, it does harm our damage potential, which is unfortunate. However, our damage is now equalized for the entire body, and it significantly boosts our headshot damage up to 6944. Now, even though this is a significant improvement to our headshot potential, and this also makes the gun noticeably more accurate, as you can see there, you still have to land 2 of those bullets to the head in order for it to do anything. Now, if you can do that, you get a 2-shot kill, which gives you a 65 millisecond time to kill, which is ridiculously fast. However, even with the improved recoil you get with this barrel, it's still not going to be easy to consistently be hitting 2 shots in a row to the head. And as a result, it's just not worth the fact that your body damage has been reduced so significantly. And in general, I would probably stay away from this unless you are actively going for like headshot camo challenges. But finally for barrels, let's get into the 5th one, which is the Empress barrel, and this one will increase our fire rate up to 1,153 rounds per minute. That's an extremely fast rate of fire, and this has no impact on our damage potential, so it's still going to be a 4 to 5 shot kill. And what this means is our new time to kill potential is faster than without using this attachment at 156 milliseconds up close and 208 at a distance. So this is looking really good on paper. I just wanted to remind you though that this does pretty significantly hurt your recoil, so that's something to be aware of. And what this means is I consider this to be a great barrel if you're treating the AS44 kind of like an SMG. You're not going to be able to hit things consistently at longer ranges, but if you keep yourself up close and personal, you can shred people with this barrel. So that's going to wrap it up for the barrel attachments, but now let's also move on to magazines, since these can also significantly impact the performance of the gun. And we'll start it off with our magazine recoil, which, as you can see here, only 2 of our magazine attachments will impact our recoil or our time to kill. And the first one is the 7.62x54R, and with this one, you can see that it makes our initial recoil especially very sort of randomized and hard to predict and control, so that is going to be hurting your recoil quite a bit. Whereas with the 7.62 Gorenko, you can see here, it actually improves our recoil by a very noticeable margin. It makes it quite a bit more accurate. As for the effects we have on range, you can see the 7.62x54R will increase our range while also turning it into a 3-shot kill up close, which we'll look at in a little bit. And then the 7.62 Gorenko, this is going to turn it into a 5 to 6 shot kill, and it also harms our ranges. But let's get into a bit more detail with the first magazine attachment. And as you can see here, it's now a 3 to 4 shot kill because it boosts our damage pretty noticeably here. However, the trade-off for that is a reduction to our rate of fire down to 845 rounds per minute. However, our time to kill potential is still very noticeably faster at 142 milliseconds up close and 213 milliseconds at a distance. This is an amazing time to kill potential for body shots. Now, of course, we have to remember this hurts our recoil quite a bit, so this is another one of those attachments where I'd say it's great up close, but it has really high recoil, so you are limiting yourself quite a bit if you use this magazine attachment. As for the next magazine attachment that changes our caliber, this is the 7.62 Gorenko, and with this, now it's going to be a 5 to 6 shot kill instead of a 4 to 5 shot kill. However, we do get a noticeably improved fire rate up to 1,000 rounds per minute. But this doesn't make up for it when we look at our time to kill potential. As you can see here, our time to kill is 240 milliseconds up close and 300 at a distance, which is slower than the base gun. And really, this time to kill potential isn't terrible. This is actually quite competitive with many other assault rifles. It's still better than almost all of the other assault rifles in the game. And since this also makes the gun more accurate, it's not a completely terrible choice on this gun. You just have to keep in mind that you're not really reaching its true time to kill potential. And with that, it's finally time to move into some excellent attachment combinations that I've found with the AS44. And let's start it off with my burst build, because like I said earlier, if you combine that burst barrel with the right attachment, it can actually be pretty incredible. And this attachment is the 7.62x54R rounds. Now, of course, the reason we're doing this is we can now get a 1-burst kill. It'll be a 3-shot kill within 41 meters. And if we do manage to get a 1-burst kill, our time to kill potential is 120 milliseconds, which is practically unstoppable in this game. On top of this is a very accurate build. You can see there's very little recoil within the burst. Obviously, you don't want to be bursting people at 100 meters or anything, but at least within that one burst range, you should be able to hit pretty consistent one bursts. And we've also got literally an instant sprint out time because of Gung Ho. Overall, this is an excellent way to run the AS44. It's quite consistent. You can get those quick one burst kills, and even if it does take a second burst, you still got a reasonable enough time to kill potential that you can compete. And yeah, this is just an excellent build. As for the second one I wanted to share for you guys though, this one's designed to be a bit more of an all-arounder. And with this, I don't have anything on this that changes the damage profile or our time to kill, and that's fine. We actually have a great time to kill as is, whether it being a 4 to 5 shot kill at 195 milliseconds up close. With this build, we've actually got pretty solid recoil, at least for the AS44. I managed to get the recoil under control quite well. You still don't want to challenge people across the map, but if you stay within the effective range of this gun, then you're going to do just fine. And it also has an amazing magazine capacity because we're using the 60 round drum mag on this. So this one's excellent, especially in higher player count modes like Blitz, when you're going to be dealing with multiple enemies in quick succession. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the AS44. As for my thoughts on this gun, I don't think it's like the best in the game. It's pretty hard to control. It's not very good at range. However, if you can keep yourself in the maximum damage range and you can hit your shots consistently, it's actually got a great time to kill potential, and you can really make this gun work. Now, of course, those are just my thoughts on the AS44. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What do you think of this gun? And also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I will, of course, leave a link to the playlist in the description down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.